G'day and welcome to the 29th episode of the Destiny Down Under podcast. This week we speak to CptKex, Master of the LORG chart. We give our impressions on the new Destiny Animal Subclasses, and we diligently answer your community questions because we love you. Cheers. G'day and welcome to the 29th episode of the Destiny Down Under podcast. I am Log Power Slave, and as always I am joined by Mylan Games to my left, Deranged Sloth below me. And this week, we are speaking to none other than the Master of the LORG chart himself, CptKex. How are we all, guys?
Hello.
Mylan, how are you? We'll start with you.
Yeah, actually, I think I'm getting the flu, to be honest.
Oh.
I'm feeling, when your body's just starting to crumble? Yeah. I feel like that at the moment. Hopefully I can remain entertaining this podcast.
Yeah.
No risk of that. Hasn't happened yet. Sloth, how are you, brother?
Yeah, going alright. Had a bit of a relaxing day. Felt like I was missing something, as we were speaking about prior. Felt like I was missing something today, so it was a bit odd. But, we got there. We're fine. This is fine. We're fine.
I had that all day. I really need to be concentrating. There's something that I need to be doing, but it was the podcast because we moved it back. There we go. That's what happens. Kex, how are you? It is morning for you, I believe.
Yeah, it's almost lunch here, and my day started, I have two kids, so my day started way early anyway, but I am very glad to be here. I am not feeling sick. I am good, actually.
Good, no complaints. Excellent, that's what we like.
Just me complaining.
just Matt having a sook. It's good, actually, you live on the opposite side of the country because I'm at no risk of getting this flu. It's some kind of deadly West Australian flu.
Yes, of course it is.
Of course. All right, there we go.
You need a firewall.
It's a virus. Kex, being our guest this week, we like to ask you, who are you and what do you do? We will dive straight into it. If you want to just give us the spiel on the LORG and everything that's about.
Yeah, of course. Well, I am as I often call it, the project manager. I am the only one, but I like to give myself a fancy title. And I am really a very nerdy guy who uses his work, computer software, to analyze the lore of Destiny. So, do you want me to go in a little bit what's it about?
But it's a bit dangerous, don't you think, Kex? Tell everyone what you do for work.
Yeah, I am a criminal analyst, so I work for law enforcement. I use it between breaks, and I use it when I am off from work. That's at least what I tell my boss, right?
Look at the backpedaling. Yes, if work is listening, I definitely don't do it during work hours.
Please do not go around my office and check my my screen. I am working with important stuff.
Well, it's funny you say that because your LORG chart, it reminds me of a CSI episode of Connecting the Dots. So tell us a bit about what the LORG chart is, what it looks like.
Yeah, so the LORG chart, the lore organizational chart is, let's stop for a minute and laugh at the chart part, because that will often make people cringe. That's not a thing in Sweden, right? A chart, you know what it is, right?
What?
A chart?
A chart, yeah. You know, the thing between a fart and a shit.
Yeah.
A chart. And I did not know that was a thing until I saw it on some movie, and now I can't stop laughing when people talk about their big chart in a meeting. Anyway.
I'm going to have to wrap this up now because I'm not going to be able to take anything seriously from this point onward. So you make a massive chart. That's where we're at.
Yes, I make a massive chart and I put it on the internet, and people seem to enjoy it. So, no. So what it is I've taken the Destiny database and I've put it in a software that is basically a visual database, right? So it puts all the entries in the database as a sort of a visual little dot. And the database was kindly donated to me by the ishtar-collective.net. I am very thankful for the cooperation from their part. So you get 50,000 of these entities, and that's and all the entries in the database. And then it's as I've started to move stuff, so let's say Osiris, I started with Osiris, took all the items that I could find that was related to him, moved them out to a sort of a point from the other entities and started to organize them, put them in a way that you can view it. So it becomes like a mind map when you process the information. And then
how many entries did you say there was?
I think there's about 50,000 in the database, and
Wait,
then
wait.
I add
1-5 or 5-0?
5-0.
Wow.
5000. Yeah.
Wow.
50,000 items?
but-
That is impressive.
Yeah, you have to remember that some items come in I just did Invective, and Invective has like 4 entries in the database because you have the upgraded version, the version with higher light, and you have some other versions. So it's not 50,000 unique, but I have to sort of look at.
But you've had to look at least 50,000 items.
Yeah, I have. My favorite one is test. This is a test. That's the best entry I've found so far. So I move them out to the side, and then I start to connect them with lines called links. So you link entities to each other to tell a story how they are related. So Osiris would be linked to the cult of Osiris and to the trials of Osiris. So it becomes like a conspiracy board over time. And like I said, a mind map is also a good example. So yeah, I've been doing that 2 years. I think I've sunk around 300-400 hours of duty time into it.
Make sure to add the off-duty. Yes, quite.
Well, do you know what? I've got a conspiracy theory, Kex.
Yeah.
I feel like you use this as a torture technique, and you actually get people to do data entry for you at work. Because that sounds torturous. Holy shit! 50,000 items.
Yeah, but I mean it's kind of relaxing just sitting and you learn a lot, right? That's why I'm here, because reading 50,000 items means you sort of pick up on stuff and you start to learn the lore. So yeah, I mean I've actually used it also in training. So if I'm training colleagues to work with the software, Destiny lore is very good because it's sort of close to what I do as a living, or what I did when I did 3 years as an intelligence officer as well. So trying to work out how are things related when they aren't specifically told to you is a very good sort of training way to learn how to analyze and how to structure data.
We've actually spoken about this before, actually, with how certain items might imply things, and how if you connect them together, it might lead you down a certain pathway, but it's still not 100% certain, right? And it's sort of very reflective of your job, is that you sort of got to put pieces together and go, well, this is our best, interpretation of who done it. I don't know. Do you say who done it? This is like Cluedo or something like that?
He did it. Yeah. I would use he probably did it or he likely did it. It's one of my big things. One of my issues is using the correct terms. And you do it very well, Mylin. We've talked about this off air also, but saying that something is confirmed is a very strong. You have to have a lot of evidence to support that.
Right.
So using words like it's probable or it's likely is more suitable for how the Destiny lore is built up right now, because very little is known to us. We do have a lot of subjective information, and that has to be processed as well. I mean, Eris has her ways and thinks certain things, so her information is always sort of subjective to how she views the world. And you have to take that into account when trying to understand what she says and how accurate that could be.
So have you ever been in court and just gone, it's probably Nocris, and go, oh no, I mean, it's probably Mr.
I'm going to read it out.
No,
We don't normally read out chat comments at this point, but Sassy has written up somewhat of a dramatization of what it must be like being an intern for Kex. It says, so you're a new intern. We're chasing a criminal codenamed Oryx. Here, sort through these 100,000 data entries and try and find anything relevant. Remember, this is top secret, so a lot of phrases are substituted for code words. It's totally legit. Don't question me, I'm your new boss.
I wonder if he works at my station. That's awesome. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But no, I haven't. So far, I haven't slipped up in court. I'm very glad for that. But I have actually shown my my visual database, not the chart, for my colleagues, and they are often very impressed. So
There you go.
I've had a couple of looks at it, and it's one of those things that it's the enormity of it, and even just the PDF of it is staggering. Like, you just kind of got to go,
huge.
just zoom in, and I was just looking and like just flittering around it, looking at the Cabal, and then moving along, and Mars, and like there's just you can follow lines for weeks. Like seriously, you could just
It's so
everything's
big.
connected in some way. It's nuts.
My
Yeah,
my
that's-
computer came up with a message saying you're out of memory. Something like that.
I did actually break the analyst, the chart reader, the free one you can use to view the log chart. I actually broke that at one point because it was
Holy crap.
too massive. So I had to submit an entry to IBM to fix it, but I can't do that unless I use my credentials from work. So it was kind of a weird situation. Where I was, yeah, hello, I'm from the Swedish police force, and I have an issue with your software. Of course, what's the problem? Well, I have this thing that I use only for training, and it's not working. But they fixed it. A great company, so.
Dude,
I can
that
guarantee
is-
we will never have a conversation like this again, or before. There's been nothing like this come before it.
No.
This is
Absolutely
this is
not.
the best. This is what this whole thing is all about.
And yes, Lukewarm, I do tell my interns to go over the green items. The green items are actually kind of good. I know Seth Dickinson, who wrote a lot of those green common items. He put a lot of work
Right.
into the item descriptions.
Yeah,
That's
I
why
had-
yeah,
Go
sorry.
on.
Yeah, well, I read that's why the sort of the first iteration of the Iron Banner armors was so subpar, because he ran out of ideas, so it was just forged in the.
Yes. So on the Destiny Ghost Stories podcast, they had Seth Dickinson, and his first job is they explained well, this is how I remember him telling the story. He said his first job, he got a big Excel spreadsheet, and they said, "Here you go. Here's a lot of items. Write down the flavor text for all these items." And they explained the ranking to him, from uncommon to exotic. But in his head, he thought rare was the top one. So he put like all of his effort into blue items with the writing, and that's why some of the legendaries are ass. They're no good. Like they're just this. Like if you look at all the factions, they're like this belonged to New Monarchy, and because he said we ran out of time. We ran out of time.
Yeah.
I put all my effort into the rares because that's what I thought was the shit, and it wasn't.
Yeah, and they are so good. Some of them are so reflecting on like life in general. You can't really sort them to anything, but it's such a pleasure to read them. I always feel good when I've done an hour of non-off-duty work.
Oh wow. Oh, Jesus.
What inspired you to begin this odyssey of data?
Well, it was sort of I started playing Destiny from day one, and I'm not a huge Halo fan, so I watched some streams when it was released, and I read reviews, and they all told me like this game is good. It doesn't have a lot of story. It's sort of
So what
repetitive.
reviews are you reading?
A lot of Metacritic. But so I decided, I can try this out. It looks fun. It's like a mesh of I used to play World of Warcraft, but I don't have the time anymore. So I bought it, and I came home, and I really enjoyed it, because coming in with that perspective that this game isn't going to have a story, I actually found it very enjoyable that it doesn't force the story on you. That's how I always, if I'm sent out to a job, I'm not going to get a 15-minute briefing on the way out. I'm going to get like, you have to do this. This is very short sort of description, like Akora does, or Zavala does when we're going into orbit. And then you have to sort of figure things out on when you arrive. So I actually enjoyed that part of the story, that you have to research it to understand it. so that sort of drove me to, and also when I started raiding a lot because we were expecting our second child and my wife was sleeping a lot. The Vault of Glass is such a mystery, right? When you go in and like, what the is this place and why is it like it is? Why are we shooting giant shiny things? So I started looking into the lore, but I had a hard time sort of putting it all together. So I thought, well, hey, why not try to use my work software to sort of approach the problem as I do when I'm working. So that sort of inspired me to make this all happen. So it's my way of understanding something using my tools at my disposal as I do at work. And like I said, the lore of Destiny is very suitable for this kind of approach because it's very similar to the information I could get when I worked in intelligence, right? You get all this information, you don't know if it's true or not, you don't know how much of information you got at this point. So trying to piece things together is sort of a core basic of my training as well. So, I mean, that speaks very much to me. So I thought, hey, why not use my software? And then people got apparently
Are you saying
interested.
I could be a detective?
Well, you do have the voice for it. Your myelin voice will work very good in interrogations, right?
Oh, you wait until
sleep.
wait until we start the community questions later and watch him snap into it. He's not in it now.
Yeah, I love listening to that.
Oh,
part
he
when
just
it's
goes-
like it's two different people.
The Mylan Games game face and voice just go bang. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I've done a couple of videos with him, and it's the same when you chat with him, right? When you chat with Mylan, it's like blah blah blah, and then bam, and he's Mylan Games.
Straight into it.
Yeah.
No.
Straight into it.
He's got his persona. That's good. He's a method actor.
I'm gonna goof it up now that you've said that.
No, you won't.
I'm gonna stuff it
Man,
up.
you're as cold as ice.
What's up?
Just
What's cracking, everybody?
Oh, let's not. Don't go back to that. Leave it to idiots like me. You sell yourself short.
Please don't.
Okay.
I guess this is a question for all of us, really, and like I've got my own feelings, but given that like the way the Destiny 1 story has evolved, would you like to see Destiny 2? I mean, I'm hesitant to say be the same because we know it's going to be an evolution, but would you like it to sort of take that effort to go and piece together the story for yourself? Like, would you like it to continue along the path it's been on, or would you rather see it be, and like I don't like this idea, but more of a spoon-fed story, like a Call of Duty story?
Well, I mean, we've built a whole community around piecing it together. So I really hope they sort of they have to push it a little bit more towards getting more people involved in the general story. I mean, I think Taken King did that a lot better than Vanilla did, but I really hope that they still keep a lot of this mystery so people will still be very interested in going and listening to Mylan. I mean, look at that poor thing. If he doesn't have things to tell people what it's really about, what's he gonna do? Then it's just funny, and that's not enough, right?
Probably spend time with Danny, I imagine, but
Yeah, you know what? Danny's probably emailing Bungie every day going, you guys need to get your shit together, tell the story better, don't worry about the Grimoire cards, get rid of the Grimoire cards, because she knows that the channel will collapse on itself if they make it too easy.
I don't know. I think that there's always going to be an element of the community that'll seek out further discussion of things like that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you look at the community, and that's the part of it that I really hope there is still like significant amounts of mystery. There kind of has to be now because there's so many characters and like at play that there's always going to be something further to discuss. And even if it's just like the characters that we know further their story a little bit, the implications of that in the wider universe are still going to be worth talking about. Having said that, I really don't want it to go down the path of like really, really, really spoon-fed, story-driven stuff like Call of Duty.
No,
because I don't think that's the game. I don't think it'd suit the game. No. I think it'd be gross.
With that being said, again, however, it is, you don't want it to be spoon-fed to you, but you don't want it to be so vague to the point where people are making up subclasses from hats.
I've got that as a point, man.
Segue.
Yeah, that's the segue.
That's a really good point. I do agree with that.
Oh, Sloth.
Yes, but Sloth, did you see the hats?
They were fucking cool hats, man. I'll pay it.
They were awesome hats.
They are awesome hats.
If you're
Oh.
listening to this podcast, you miss out on a lot. Mostly Sloth's facial expressions.
That was delivery. That was the
I'm-
coldest delivery. It was amazing. 10 out of 10, brother. Good job. I think on that
I'm so
note,
glad that you had that reaction, right? So I got worried when I read in the show notes that we were going to talk about this as a potential new subtype. I'm like, uh-oh, this is not going to mesh well with my point of view, but thank you, Slav.
all right, we'll quickly get the news of this week out of the way, and we'll get into a little discussion on the hat subclasses as they're now known. There wasn't a whole heap in the This Week at Bungie this week. I did go through it, but it's basically just the hype train at full steam ahead. We've got 6 days and counting to bloody the big gameplay reveal and all of that. Importantly, though, Arex has got the UK Bungie bounty. So
Nice.
if you're in the UK, did everyone else just hear that? Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll get up and shut the door in a tick. But yeah, for everyone in the UK, get on, jump on, try and line up against Arex. I think he'll be streaming at the time. The time is 10 a.m. Pacific. I'm not sure what time that is in the UK. I wish they'd just do local times. Why do they not do local times?
10 a.m. Pacific is it'd be
UK
like
is two minus
2:30.
1, so 5 hours, right?
yeah.
For 4 mile in.
I have no idea.
Sure.
I'm not going to contribute anything to this.
Anyway, it's
Yeah.
it is.
It's
that
a
so
time. You'll
get,
know.
Get in there. If you can match up against him, you have the chance to win the emblem, and that is incredibly rare. Do it. Try and beat him.
It's on the
He's a pretty
13th.
good
I don't think I said that. The other thing, movie of the week, Lulu Soccer's blindfolded Abyss Run. I thought that was excellent. How to make a boring part of a raid you've done 1,000 times fucking incredible.
Wait, can you explain it to me? I haven't seen it.
She
What happens?
basically does the Abyss Run blindfolded in real life. She blindfolds herself and then streamed herself doing
How?
the Abyss. Go and watch the video.
Magic. How?
So what happened? She took in a stack team. Like I listened to it, watched it today, and she took in a stack team and had someone walking like right next to her and just going, all right, turn left this far, go forward this far, and all that sort of thing. That being said, it was a 390 raid.
Oh, still
So there's
impressive.
enemies-
Still impressive.
Enemies coming at you like left, right, and center, and then gets to the plate and just like there's bubble titans galore. There's
Yeah,
fucking
it was well
humpers
planned.
The only problem that I had with the video is she was looking up at the ceiling for the most part. So like I had to really listen to it and like meh. It was good. It was really, really good. More power to her. Absolutely, congratulations to Lulu Soccer for pulling that off.
So it was on the stream, was it? Was it live as well?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's in the weekly update, mate. If you want to give it a look, which is pretty good.
Yeah. So we haven't really seen anything like that kind of stuff before, right? I mean, we obviously get like the speed runs, which is pretty cool, but we haven't seen
Like a real in reality difficulty modifier.
Well, like they do with Dark Souls, like I beat Dark Souls with the drumsticks or something like that. Do you know?
Oh.
I beat it with a Guitar Hero controller.
There was a guy that went flawless. The guy that went flawless, well, got carried flawless playing Trials with a Guitar Hero controller. But like
How
But
does
didn't
work?
Dado do a blind run?
I don't know. I'll have to look it
I
up.
think it did.
Maybe you did.
I'm sure it's not the first time it's.
Challenges.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not the first time that someone has done it, but it's the first time that has been made. Like people have recorded it and put it up where the vast amounts of the community can see it. So, like I said, more power to it. I wouldn't be able to do that. I'd be like, Log would be like, go left. I'm like, yeah, right. Like that sort of thing.
I think Sloth, me and you have already done it. We did the whole of Vault of Glass blind, but it was in a different.
That's a different kind of blind, and you bloody well know.
Alcohol, the universal difficulty modifier. Let's go.
Holy.
I don't think I ever recovered. But, all right, moving on. The other thing that's been a big topic of discussion in the community this week, the hats. The hats.
Sorry.
Titans are going to be lions. What? Hunters are going to be snakes. Warlocks are going to be I don't know,
Birds.
falcons or eagles or
Eagles.
whatever,
Something like that.
something. I don't. I
Phoenix.
just think it's just emblems. It's just like it's on the dude's chest plate. It's just
People have read into it, and I watched Beard's video, I watched bloody Bife's video, and they're like, no, it's just merchandise. Relax. Like that's paraphrasing, I know, but just relax. But the best one, like just through reactions wise, it wasn't a professionally done video. It was just Anon holding his phone up to his computer and going, "See this? Yeah. See this? Yeah. Don't be dumb." So good.
Was he just showing items? Was he just showing like animal?
Yeah,
He
the
had his-
cloak of Itakara. Everyone.
Yeah, he had the hat, the hunter hat with the snake, and then the cloak, which had the same snake on
Yeah.
it, just that the image had been flipped, and he's just like, "Don't be dumb," and I'm just sitting there, just like, that could be not more correct. That could not be more correct, rather.
Can we
Like,
explain the situation from the beginning? Because I know some people in chat haven't seen it. So can you go from the top Sloth for people that haven't,
Alright.
might not know what we're talking about?
Bungie getting on the hype train and capitalizing on that because they are a business. Activision are a business, so they sell merchandise. What they're doing, so they're selling a wallet, which looks pretty cool. If they have RFID protection in it, I'm getting it. It looks awesome. Anyway, they released a hat. There are 3 hats. One with a warlock symbol on it, the Titan symbol on it, one with the Hunter symbol on it. Now, the Titan had a Titan symbol with a lion underlay. Same with the Warlock with the Phoenix underlay, and same with the Hunter with the snake underlay. And people, certain YouTube creators and Twitch creators were like, like must have, like, this is the new subclass. Like, we're going to be snakes. We're going to be a lion. And it's just like we're drawing parallels between. Like, I watched one particular person. I won't name names.
Yeah, let's not name any channels.
yeah.
Not names, but they drew parallels between the Destiny box art, the Destiny 2 box art, and these hats. And I was sitting there going, "It's just merchandise, you fucking
It's art.
person." I had to stop
Beep,
myself.
beep.
But
There's one
dumb.
thing. What was that friggin' post about that was months ago that named these ones? What is that about?
The one I actually saw that in a more console video that there would basically be pets, and the pets that it suggested for each class lined up with the fucking animals that are on the hats. And I'm
Yeah.
like, whoever this person is a genius, because I honestly don't believe that the Titans are going to be running around Destiny 2 with a lion pet. 'Cause I'll have one.
Yeah, exactly. It makes me angry, but if I get to write a line, I won't be upset either.
Well, it was from a post, right, on a forum. Someone claimed to have leaked information, and that sort of supported with Bunny Ears the whole idea of them being new subclasses.
See, that's a bit that gets me though. If you look at that post, and if that post is true, is it just a massive troll? Someone just knew that someone caught wind of the merchandise and knew that this would blow up, and so they made a post, because the post is exactly what the animals are. It says, lion, a serpent, and a bird or whatever. So, did they just catch wind of this really early and thought they'll do a bit of a troll? Or, how did that come about? That's a bit that intrigues me.
You know what? I hope it's Deej just fucking with the community to get his own back. I hope he's just there going, you know what? I am deliberately going to feed them just bullshit and watch it cause an absolute stir, because I don't know. I mean, admittedly, the caps look cool. I'll pay that. I like the emblems and that. I think it's cool, but it is what it is.
The thing with, like, all of these leaks, and this is not just the Destiny community. This is a gaming community as a whole. Like, you watch certain channels and they'll say Half-Life 3 is just around the corner. My uncle works for Valve. And people believe it. Like, I'm not even joking. People believe it. So they will glean any type of information out of any post or anything. Like, obviously, Bungie has put Easter eggs in there before. They put the full stop in there, and there was a link to something. I can't remember what it was.
Cat
like,
pictures.
they put Easter eggs in there. Yeah, there's that. Like, it's just, people just relax. I know it's exciting. It's hyped. It's Destiny. We all love it. Everyone here in this Skype call loves it. Everyone in the chat loves it. Just chill.
Yeah, let me be devil's advocate to that though, right? So for content creators that this is their income, you know, they're always gonna anything like that is gonna become a video, and I don't blame them either. You know, if this is their full-time job, that, you know, I would probably write a similar title, right? Like, new classes confirmed. You know what it like. You would do that, and that's part of the YouTube game, is to intrigue an audience to click a video. Like, the number one thing to get views on your video is your title and your thumbnail. That's just the game, do you know?
Yeah, I agree, and I'm not gonna call bullshit on that, because, you know, like, you obviously know what you're talking about, you know, Mr. I've got my silver play button, congratulations.
Which they still haven't emailed me about.
Which I still haven't emailed him about. God damn it, everyone take to Twitter and get in YouTube.
I'm sure you're listening.
God damn it. But, you know, like, but the thing.
It's a fine line, Sloth. It's a really fine line, and some content creators are more respectful of that line, and some of them go right past it, and it's about that.
Show some professional integrity.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, show, like, don't, if you've got actual information, don't be like one particular YouTuber, which I didn't actually see the video, but I saw the link on the Bungie forums. Oh my God, new subclasses revealed, and then in the first 30 seconds of the video, basically just makes him he's cut himself off at the knees. He's turned himself into a hypocrite. Like, there's no information. He goes, oh, there's not really any information.
Yeah, it's
clickbait.
Clickbait.
If you don't be clickbaity. Just, if you have information, have information. If you want to make a video about being excited, make a 10-minute vlog about being excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I want to make a video, but I'm bad at it, so I won't.
Or present the information that's given and let people, do you think this could be a potential new subclass?
Yeah,
not saying new subclasses are confirmed, because I found two things.
Start a conversation. That's the good thing about it.
I mean, you know what? See, that's sort of why I brought this up, because I actually, without that post, I don't think there was probably enough there to make a video on. With that post, I think there's enough to pose a question.
Yeah.
And the question wouldn't have been, these are new subclasses. My question probably would have been, was this planted? How can this be? Because I really don't feel like there's going to be pets, but I could be wrong, and I'm hoping wrong, you know. So there is a fine line between intriguing and deceiving. That's my favorite Casey Neistat quote.
Yeah, like you said, Kex. Like, ask the question, start a conversation about it. That is the best way to do things. Don't just go, I have this information that this person who you don't know, but I know, like, he's my uncle and he works for Bungie, and, you know, this sort of information. Or just don't try and read into things too much. Ask a question, sure, but play devil's advocate with yourself. If it seems too good to be true, it's probably going to be too good to be true.
Sloth, I'm going to pitch something to you. You're going to go through right now and get all of the people who make outlandish claims and then revisit them in 6 months in a YouTube video and destroy the internet.
You know what?
If anyone can do it, it's you.
I've got me book.
It's a black book too.
You don't want to be in Sloth's black book. I'll tell you that right now.
I do feel that YouTubers have sort of a semi-responsibility also to be somewhat transparent or honest with their content, right? You can't, like you said, there's a fine line between drawing in people and just having it as clickbait. And I have a hard time respecting people who just clickbait the hell out of something instead of trying to, I mean, posting it, telling about it is something, but saying this is confirmed is another thing.
That's not. It always leads.
Then they go in your book, Sloth.
It's in the book.
Good.
In the certain death. I mean, the other thing that is a cool little segue, right? We have Kex here, who's a detective, and Mylan is basically saying that he thinks that he smells bullshit around that post, and there's a bit of treachery afoot. I think we need to
Get
launch
on
an
it,
investigation.
Kex. You have the tools to find out who made that post, mate.
Yes, I will ask my boss to put the serious organized crime unit on that right away.
That's a serious thing that affects
sure.
hundreds of thousands of people, Kex. Come on.
It does.
Okay, well, Kex,
You know what,
what
Kex?
kind of crime related to that do I need to commit for it to be part?
Wow. Well, it would have to be sort of an organized thing, right? So people are with purpose trying to deceive people into, I don't know, you have to have something connected to. It's not really a crime to be an asshole, right? Or to be a troll, right? Unless they are violating other people's rights or being rude. But it wasn't in that post either. It's just being a troll. Yeah, I mean it's that post weeks of someone just probably saw that merchandise coming out and took advantage of it.
I don't know, Kex. I think you're being very evasive. Sloth, put him in the book. It's probably him who's written this post.
Well, I cannot discuss active investigation.
Righto. Noting it down. I've got my pen. I'm noting it down. All right. Do we want to get into the community questions, Matt?
Sure, let's do it. You ready for me to switch on?
Yeah, do it.
Wait.
Welcome back, Guardians, to the community segment questions of the Destiny Down Under podcast. If you want to catch the full podcast, go to the link below. These questions are directly from you, so thank you to everyone who has submitted questions on the YouTube channel. It is a roundtable discussion that is about including everyone in better understanding Destiny's lore, regardless of experience. Not everyone on the podcast has read as many cards as me, and not everyone has read as many cards as CptKex, as he has read 50,000 item descriptions, which we just had a chat about. And we would love to encourage a culture of people understanding Destiny's lore and trying to just have a crack. So I am joined by Log Power Slave to my right and the Deranged Sloth in the bottom left-hand box. And CptKex is the Vex mind? Is that right, Kex?
Yeah,
is.
they are. There are several of them, and they are themed to each of the races.
Great. For those who don't know, CptKex made the LORG chart, which is a visual representation of the Grimoire cards and item descriptions. If you want to know more about that, check out the full Destiny Down Under podcast. But let's get straight into the questions. This is from XX__XX. Clearly a hacker. I always...
Or a porn star.
That's 4 X's, man. I don't know what that... Ooh.
That's a good beer, is what that is.
Yeah.
It's a good beer.
Moving on, Matt. Let's get...
I always thought that our Guardians unwittingly became the next Taken King. If you remember the cutscenes after you defeat Oryx, where Eris Morn watches Oryx's sword crumble, and she then takes the shard that comes from it. That shard is the same one that is in the present day legendary and exotic swords. By this logic, to fill the power vacuum, Eris went behind our backs and made us the new Taken Kings by using the shard from Oryx's sword in our swords. And I just want to add this other question on, which is along the same lines. This is from DJ Youngblood. Could it be Eris who takes Oryx's place? Because when you kill Oryx, she takes the shard and says, I accept my fate, I will not fail. So essentially we're talking about the very end of the Taken King campaign. We're talking about Eris Morn taking that shard, and we're talking about the vacancy in the Taken King's seat. Who should we start with? Is anyone frothing?
I think we should start with Log.
All right.
Yeah, right.
Personally, I don't think that we unwittingly have filled the void of the Taken King. I mean, for one very, very obvious reason is if we're all of a sudden each individually the Taken King, why are they still trying to kill us? You know, if we rule them, why are the Taken still coming after us? I mean, that would be a pretty... that'd be my first question. But having said that...
It's interesting.
There is... You know, with all that goes on with Eris, I think it's heavily implied that she's either taken that mantle herself or has taken on the burden of finding a way to stop anyone else doing that. I don't know.
Yeah, I would somewhat agree with that. I think Eris is on the verge there. She's either that covert ally that almost seems like an enemy at sometimes, very similar to Toland, but Sloth, what do you reckon? You look like you just had a thought. Ding.
Not really, because not really much goes up here. But you know, like it's. I don't know, man. I don't think that we've left. Yeah, I don't think we've left a power vacuum, honestly. But anyway, that's just me. I'm just gonna leave it there.
I know you've had previous theories about this.
Yeah, I've done. So, I mean, if we're talking about Tolan, probably most likely Tolan, describes it very well in the Grimoire cards about the King's Fall, right? That up to that point we have been obeying the laws of the sword logic, and by that definition, Hive live to challenge each other. It's a part of the lifestyle that if you're going to be the number one, you have to be the strongest. So challenging your commander is a part of life. And we do that by challenging Oryx in his throne world, and we beat him. So by definition, then we should be the one taking his place. But we don't. We leave. And that upsets Tolan, most likely Tolan, very much. So there is a power vacuum that has to be filled now. The Hive are probably trying to clean for that power. But when we look at Eris, she hasn't done these steps to become a leader. Not that we know of, at least. I wrote a theory about her potentially being like in success. Someone is trying to put her there, and that could very well be. I mean, she does have a unique quality that will speak to the Hive in a way. So it's a very interesting thing to think about that she's being put up at that. But we haven't seen her actively being sort of a combatant, trying to use sword logic to climb to the top. But she's leaving the tower, as we know, so that could be.
Well, I was going to say, it's the very last Eris card that was released. She leaves the tower, and this is pretty much a summary sentence or sentences of what is said. She says, "I must find a new path through the night. The Hive are vast and ancient, a power from far beyond our realm. If we are ever to truly face them, ever truly to put an end to their hate, I must step beyond the safety of the city." So for me, she's definitely out looking for Oryx's sisters because they're probably the major threat, right? So she's left for that. I think some people could argue that, well, keep your enemies closer. A little bit like what Tolan's doing. Would it not make the city safe for her to be in control?
Yeah.
I don't think that will come true. And to sort of directly answer this question talks a lot about the shard itself from Oryx's sword Willbreaker. And I don't really think it's 100% correct to say if you possess that, you possess the taking, because I actually think it's more about the Tablets of Ruin and communing with the deep, rather than possessing that shard. And if you actually read most of the questline for the exotic swords, you actually take it to Shaxx and you purify it, and you actually put Hadium flakes in it, and Hadium flakes, it says, absorb any energies, including lightness and dark. So Oryx's sword was evil because it absorbed all this darkness and vanquished light, whereas we actually infuse motes of light. Shaxx helps us to infuse motes of light into this shard of darkness. So I don't see any issue with using the sword. I get the metaphoric impact of it. I get the philosophy that we not only use a sword, which is the Hive's most sort of powerful weapon, but we actually also use the philosophy of sword logic. We keep killing, we keep proving that we're part of this final universe.
Yeah, I mean, sword. The word sword and sword logic is just sort of it's not all swords make you progress through the ascension in Hive culture. It's sort of outside that realm. Only Hive can use that power. We can't. So when we, as you say, we cleanse that sword, then it becomes another just a weapon, but it's a very powerful weapon.
Right, and I think the last part that originally sparked a lot of this sort of theory that Eris was either A, trying to take the throne, or B, working for someone else, working for a different one, was which is what DJ Youngblood brings up. She says, "I accept my fate. I will not fail." You know, it's this really suspicious thing to say. And the full quote is actually, "My queen, you were right. The guardian was the key. For the first time, the whispers are silent. It is done. I have accepted my fate. I will not fail." And some people thought, well, the queen's dead, so why is she saying my queen? We now know that the queen actually lives, so I do think it's a reference to the queen. And I do think that Eris Morn went with Osiris to talk about Oryx in that one card.
I
think
agree.
it goes straight into Queen
implied.
2.
Yep.
Right? So they warned her about Oryx. They defeated Oryx. She was right. Guardians with this unique thing that we have never seen before. They were the ones that able to beat Oryx, who hasn't been beaten in thousands of years. So I don't, although it sounds suspicious, I don't think Eris is up to anything. And I think she will remain an ally, to be honest. Toland's probably a little bit more questionable.
Yeah, and there's a couple of interesting comments by Vance that Osiris and the Queen are conspiring, and there's talk about Oryx there as well. And then you have the whole, the Urn of Darkness quest, when we actually, that whole quest is about tempting Oryx to come to our system. And that's, I mean, Eris tells us that in the last part of that quest. So we tempt Oryx enough with that when we perform that ritual, so he comes. So it's sort of it tells the story of a very elaborate plan, and that's why I think she said what he does. The Guardian was the key, and my queen would be the Queen of the Reef. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you have a question, Sloth?
I have a question.
No, I'm.
Log, because I think it's really important that Sloth and Log ask questions, because we're really relying on you guys to represent.
Yeah, we're the everyman.
Yeah, no, well, I mean that in a nice way too.
No,
you know,
it's fine.
like, I mean that in a way that. So, Log, you have a question?
I don't know. I mean, just a couple of comments more than anything. I think the thing with Eris is she'd be a very obvious sort of spy in the ranks, so to speak. Like, she's the one person who, like, she's got black shit leaking out of her eyes, right? She's inherently hard to trust. She's not a character that you see a whole lot of people, like, you know, everyone loves Cade. People love Akora Ray. You don't see it. There's no subculture out there of, like, I really love Eris. You know, I'm not trying to shit on her as a character. I think she's probably the most interesting person in the tower. But,
yeah,
like,
she is.
I think it'd be a very obvious turn. Running contrary to that, which of Oryx's sisters is the one that's the one about cunning?
It's Sabathun.
Right.
Yeah.
So if Oryx is the king, then his sisters would be what? Queens? Maybe? I don't know. I'm just sort of thinking out loud that, I mean, why
who would
why
it naturally pass to?
Yeah, who would it pass to? And well, would you not?
I'm not sure it's that kind of monarchy, is it?
I don't know. I mean, the sword logic is the next strongest person would be the vanquisher of them. But
yeah, I actually think they don't use that sort of same symbolism. Like, you know, although he's called king, I don't think it goes down the line or anything like that.
No, okay. No. Just thinking out loud, but
what do you reckon, Kex?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I completely agree. It's a matter of who can be the strongest, and
it's not about lineage.
And the three sisters are the strongest because they have their pact with the Worm Gods. So naturally, both Sabathun and Siwarath would be the most powerful hive entities out there, but they had left the system. That's why we see people like, the Hood of Malak. That's why we see Malak trying to go for a power grab, because there's a vacancy and the sisters aren't around. But if you look at the, what is it called, the Shadowfang, Voidfang, the sword that we get from the Darks, the Taken sword.
Oh yeah, there's Dreadfang?
Yeah, Dreadfang. Yeah. The quote on that, I don't remember exactly, but it's thank you for your failure, my dear brother. Yeah.
That's the best item.
Yeah, that probably is showing us that we are going to see perhaps both the sisters trying to do a power grab. Because, I mean, fighting for power, that's how they show love.
Well, exactly. And one of the other things, apart from those two sisters, there's always the question of Teox as well, who was the teacher to the Osmian heirs, I guess. So when the Osmian king was around, Oryx's dad, before he died, they had a teacher called Teox who was infertile, but it ended up betraying I can't remember what she did actually. She betrayed. Is she the one who killed? She went and allied with the helium drinkers, I think.
That's right. Yeah, which is another sort of same proto race to the Hive. So she did not think that the three sisters would be, that's Oryx and Silverath and Sabatune, but in their earlier forms could take up the throne.
Yeah, a lot of people thought for a while that maybe Eris was working for her somehow, even though she never made a worm pact. And, the Proto-Hive are only meant to live for 10 years. We don't know if it's 10 Earth years or if their fundaments got different years. And whether she went back into stasis because she was in stasis for a while and then came out. So I'm interested.
Mother Morphs are told to live longer. Sorry.
Go on.
No, just pointing out that Mother Morphs live longer than just those 10 years. It's described as. They have a longer lifespan.
Yes, they live a little bit longer. Yeah. Well, look, I thought that was a really good question. Any other final thoughts before we wrap up on that question, anyway?
Not overly.
Not too many thoughts. I was thinking there when you were talking about Malok. That he made a power grab, like he just came out of nowhere and made a power grab. Did he come out of nowhere? He's quite powerful. He's quite powerful.
He did not come out of nowhere. He's interesting. Also, the spawn of Sabathun, I believe it is. So Sabathun placed Malak inside the ranks of Oryx to divert tithing, which is the power, sort of the way that the Taken King gets his power is through the lower hive, sort of pushing their working sword god. It's just like they're giving stuff to him. But
it never says what it is. It's like they kill and they pass the energy of killing up the command chain, basically.
Yeah. So when Crota is really shitty Ponzi scheme, or really good Ponzi scheme, I guess.
Yes.
So when Crota is out killing with his sword, his left side of that sword feeds Oryx, and he can feel that. Even though they are dimensions away, he can feel that, like, I don't know how, it's like fat, juicy something. It's like a good beer.
Do you know what I've always thought? Do you know when you see them praying and they hold their weapon above their head floating?
Yeah.
I always thought that was them tithing their energy, sending it up the chain, because their weapon holds all the death, all the killing.
It's an interesting thought, yeah. So, I mean, Malak he's very powerful because Oryx stops this tithing, takes Malak in as his own, imbues him with all taken power to make him very powerful. So it's not it's just not out of left field, but the way he does it is sort of out of left field.
He was adopted. He was Oryx's adopted son, initially spawned by Sabathun to basically sabotage Oryx, and Oryx turned it around.
So Sabathun is basically trying, like in that act, is trying to supplant him by having another in his ranks. They're ready to have him either grow powerful enough to challenge Oryx himself or replace him in the event that something else comes along and defeats him.
Well, the way it says it was more about sabotaging his tribute line.
Yes.
So I think redirecting that energy away from Oryx, so Oryx just his worm consumes him. That's the impression I got, but I might be wrong there.
No, I agree. It's about Sabathun is feeding herself with his tithing because his tribute tithing is more powerful than hers. So she's like a little symbiote sucking energy out of him.
I'm going to catch shit for this in the comments, I can tell. But right,
let's go.
Here's Log's little harebrained scheme. What if the queen that Eris is talking to is Sabathun, because she's already placed someone there to replace Oryx, and then through use of cunning and whatever else, gets another enemy to come in and basically deal with Oryx to then have him gone out of the picture, is replaced by her son. I don't know. I mean, Oryx calls himself a king.
It's not a stupid theory, man. That's what when the Taken King came out and people heard that last line, that was like the major thing that people were saying.
Yeah.
Who's she saying my queen? Is he talking about Sabathun?
Yeah, and that tactic is actually described also in the Books of Sorrow. That Sabatun places someone that can morph into other shapes inside their enemy to destroy them from within, or to so it's
She
not
does
it's
that
not
to
uncommon.
others.
That's a very common conspiracy theory about Eris.
There you go.
So it's a very
There you
good. Yeah.
I think we'll answer one more. I think this one will be quite quick. We'll see how we go for time. This is from Corpse Collage. It's a little bit bleak, but I have a question. Do Guardians age? I know that during the Golden Age, humanity's life expectancy tripled and science, technology, medicine, etc. boomed and flourished, but obviously everyone met their maker at some time or another. Are our Guardians aging, or does the light of the Traveler suspend that? If we are aging, what becomes of our ghosts once we pass? Do they find another suitor? Good question.
I don't think suitor is the right term, but
do Guardians age? That's the question.
But I don't believe they do, because you look at the start of the game, you know, Dinklebot, Nolan Droid, whatever the hell you want to call him, the thing. No, Ghost is searching through the vehicles of the Russian
Cosmodrome.
Cosmodrome. Thank you. Searching through the Cosmodrome, just going where. Finds the perfect vessel of light, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Someone who could imbue be imbued by the power of the Traveler. I think what they've done, or what happens is they are revived in the state they were in as they died.
Yeah.
And they don't change.
Yeah.
Because they're in a state of forever living in death, because they're always being revived by the light and then dying to the darkness, and revived by the light, dying to the darkness. So they're in a constant state of purgatory. So they don't age. They feel alive. But when Crota shoves his, blade through the top of their skull and cleaves them in two, they're dead. So like it's give you takey type of sort of situation, if that sort of makes any sense.
I tend to agree. I've got a couple of bits that back that up, but Log, what are your thoughts?
I'm in agreement with Sloth. I think that another part of it might be that, like, well, I mean, we never see. I mean, it might just be the fundamental of game design, but we never see anyone that's a different sort of real different age to us. You know, we're all sort of like, everyone's still pretty much in their physical prime. You know, like, we're all...
You don't see these old dudes walking around.
Yeah, no, and you don't. But maybe that's all it is. It's like, I mean, you look at Wolverine. He was in his physical prime. I know I'm just being a nerd here, but he's in his physical prime for so much longer, because that's, is the additional healing and all that sort of stuff. Maybe it's just a factor of, you're imbued with this ghost, like the ghost imbues you with the light of the Traveler, revives you at your physical prime so that you're the best possible soldier you can be, and continues to revive you at your physical prime so you're the best soldier that you can be. That's all there is to it. I mean, maybe if you weren't killed for forever and you sat around a tower and did nothing, maybe you would get old. I don't know.
Yeah, I really like Sloth's interpretation. That I fully agree with it. I don't think we age in that way. We age in that we live long. Some Guardians have lived over hundreds of years, right? So they age in that way, but not in a physical way. They will not grow gray hair or something. But then there's description of young-looking Guardians as well. So I think Ephrodite is one that's described as a younger woman.
Yep.
And you have Saladin, who's an older man. So I do really like the thought that we are resurrected as we were prior when we died. So we're just being imbued with light, and we sort of stay in that stasis. That's how they can resurrect us all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you look at the. I know that we shouldn't be going off of release videos, but the release video for Rise of Iron, and then it was the initial video into the DLC. You look at Yolda. She's quite a good-looking.
She's a hottie.
Guardian. You can't really go past redheaded chicks, honestly. If they've got abs, I'll be drooling out the side of my head. But they have been picked up at their physical prime. That's why, I know that this recently really isn't part of it, but Etz just said before, imagine if they picked up a a 65-year-old dude who has arthritis in both his knees and dies from jumping off a small ledge. You know, like that's just not going to happen. They're going to pick up, like, yeah, the people's lifespan goes for quite a long way. That being said, they want to pick someone up who's in their 20s, 30s, 40s, who are just, you know,
who likes to fight and party. I mean, if you're gonna be in the apocalypse, you want to have a good time.
Dance to no music, fight, party, punch each other, get warlocks from 400 miles away.
The thing is, I would like an old man emote. Like if you could pretend to have a walker as an emote.
Just the old Zimmer frame, yeah.
Just the old Zimmer frame. Look, I agree with all of that. I've got a couple of bits here that I think probably support it. So Saladin does say in a cutscene there's a difference between immortality and invincibility, and that he didn't realize people could die before they did. And what I take from that is they are immortal, but not invincible. They can die, but they live forever, essentially, as long as their ghost remains intact with them. If you look at the cutscenes with Saladin when they went to the replication chamber and the cutscenes with Saladin now, still has grey hair. So I think that supports what Sloth's saying. The age that you're resurrected, that's what you remain as. There is a Ghost Fragment Titan card that says this. Someone's telling a story. They say, this story again, disrespectful youngster. And then the other person says, youngster, I could be older than you.
Yeah.
So reinforces that.
That's a good
you can't
point,
tell someone's age by how they look. So he looks younger, but he actually might be older, meaning that he hasn't aged.
The only way, sorry to interrupt, Matt, but the only race, I guess you could say, of characters inside of Destiny that you could probably tell age would be Exos by the number denoted on their in their name. Like K6.
The wipe number, you reckon?
Yeah, but it's more memory wipe though. It's not necessarily.
And the problem there is Lakshmi. Lakshmi is really old, but she only has the number 2. So I mean, it's potential to tell that if you have been wiped that many times, you're probably old. So I agree with but you can't definitively say it because people like Lakshmi is the sort of opposite of that rule.
Yeah, I mean, like he could be an Exo that just has a really bad week and is like, no, I need to be wiped again. I've seen some shit, man. Just you turn up wherever they're making Exos, and I need to be wiped out.
She wasn't pretty.
Me dog got hit by a sparrow. Me truck's broken. You know, like I just want to wipe now. All right.
Go and see Will Smith with the eye thing.
Oh my god.
The last thing here. This is one last thing. I think almost confirms it. And this is from Aphrodite in the Iron Banner. She says, "To me, the Iron Banner is a way to prepare yourself for a unique purpose. And without purpose, all of our strange, wonderful powers are meaningless. After I left the banner, my agelessness felt like a burden."
Yeah.
I reckon that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
I reckon that's pretty solid.
The last part of that question was, do ghosts move on after we die, right? And that's not really. I mean, we have one question mark, and that's J.R.M. Ward's ghost. That's the only reference we have to them moving on. Otherwise, they seem to just exist as scouts or as other parts of doing recon stuff.
I mean, I want someone to inherit Dredge and Yule's ghost. Yeah. I want that to happen in Destiny 2.
But most often, I mean...
Oh, sorry, Matt.
Ghost will most often, if... you can see it in the Crota, in the depiction of the first Crota fire team, that the ghost will be the one who will eventually die before the Guardian, because ghosts live on the constant sort of channeling on the light, while Guardians seem to have sort of, we can charge up light and then go on. So her ghost is dimming as she is progressing, and she would be Ariana 3. So most often than not, if a Guardian is killed in the darkness, which is where a ghost will always also die, then the ghost will always, or most often, always die as well.
There's a really interesting sort of loophole brought up in chat, and that is, when you lose your ghost, do you still remain immortal? So let's say, for example, Eris Morn, she lost her ghost when they were first trying to take on Crota. She's still around and kicking.
Yeah.
How long ago was that? My timelines aren't very good. We're talking.
Well,
We're
it's
talking
hard to say time.
We're talking. Where was Mare Imbrium?
Marimbrum is it's before. Oh, let's see. It's before Twilight Gap.
So we're still talking centuries, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, most likely. And she also. I mean, in the card that you were talking about when she meets the Queen with Osiris, she also talks about this being the next death is her final.
Her death will be her last.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
I don't know.
So if you lose your ghost, it's like you're on your last life. You can't be resurrected anymore. That's the assumption I make from the information at hand. And they don't usually go to another guardian. They are bound to that guardian who died and will spend their time doing research and recon.
Well, look, I might wrap it up there unless you guys have anything else to add.
All good, man.
All good.
I thought that was some excellent discussion. Thank you, Log Power Slave, Deranged Sloth, and Captain Kex for joining in our roundtable community questions. If you would like to feature in the podcast and on the YouTube channel, just leave a question below, and I'll pick them just a day before we actually go live. So, thank you for all those submissions, and we'll see you next time.
Peace. Oh, Jesus.
It kind of takes the magic. It takes the magic out of it when you see you fucking lean forward.
I love it.
Thank you, guys. That was excellent. Great.
Yeah, awesome.
All good.
Well, you know what? We might just hang out for 10 or 15 and answer some questions from chat and wind it down because
Let's wind down.
Dude, this has been an absolute... This has flown. It's like an hour and 10 minutes already and we're just... yeah, wow. What a chat.
It's been a cracker, man.
It's been
It's been great.
Kex, you're going to have to come back on, man. If you're in the chat and you've got anything you'd like to ask, please fire away. I don't know what you're going to ask me.
My mind. We've got a detective in chat. What are we going to ask him? No.
Well, someone is asking how babies come from. That's not a detective question. I'll leave that. But I do have
your dad. Ask your dad.
Yeah.
Well, I could describe the 2 times we did it to procreate our kids, but that wouldn't be fun. Actually, it was fun for me.
Well, I think it was fun for everyone, Kex, but you know, just generally.
Well, Mylan's the only one here who doesn't have kidlings, so you know, like you'll find that out the hard way, mate.
You can tell. Look at how young he looks because he gets sleep.
Yeah.
Remember sleep, Sloth?
What sleep?
No. Dude,
Oh, that's what kids get when you're looking at them, right?
Yeah, that's the thing that you rock them into, and then you go off and try and finish whatever you were doing before you had to do that. Anyway,
while we wait for questions, should we do the win it? What's it called? Win it or lose it? Not win it or lose it.
nailed it, failed it.
Nailed it, failed it.
We can do that heaps quick. I have a really good failed it.
Go
I
on.
have a really good failed it. I saw the Jez shared a video earlier I think it was like maybe early yesterday. Some dipshit had put a video up on YouTube. The Jez exposed of him and his mates beating the Jez in trials. And that was the whole video. It's like, oh, he's been exposed. And he's like, man, I lost fucking 1 round. Right, I'm deleting everything. I'm getting off. The YouTube channel's closing down. That's it, I'm done because I lost 1 round of trials. Just
did he make a response to it?
Yeah, that was his response. He's like, I'm deleting
as
everything as we speak. Just goodbye, everyone. That dude, we're gonna get him on. He's a fucking champion.
Just why? Like honestly, just why? Why? I beat the Jez. I beat Lupo or whoever's in Resolute now. I beat someone in Resolute. Well done. Maybe they had an off day. Maybe you're good at Crucible. Do you go and brag about it?
Oh, maybe to your
Go
mates.
with it.
Maybe to your mates you do.
Someone made this video about me, but I don't think they realized that I was arse at Crucible anyway, so no one cared.
Mylan Games is bad at Crucible. Well, duh.
Well,
Are you
And Mylan Games himself responds with, yeah, and?
That's like saying, oh, yeah, Sloth, you're really bad at video games. Yeah, well,
Dude,
fuck do you think
stop.
I am?
I
I'm no fucking professional. I play it for fun.
Yeah.
want to hang on.
Jesus.
I'm going to keep doing the Saturday night trial streams, me and you and Sass, until someone makes a video of us. Oh, we beat them, because it will be a fucking long video because we get beat a lot. Oh.
Yeah. We have a question here from Dutch Grandma. Do you think we will find Saint 14 has found, or do you think we will find out if Saint 14 has found Osiris? Yes.
Yes.
There's your answer.
I think so too.
The
Yeah.
hard yes.
Well, they are. When I was doing, that's not a question I would like to finish. When I was organizing the part about Osiris, there are some of the Titan artifacts, Titan items that could potentially be talking about someone from the city, a great mind, leaving. And that could be, of course, be Osiris. That's the number one assumption. But it could also be Saint 14. And I found that it's sort of it could be. There's a small, it's possible. So I do think that they have teamed up. I think we will see Saint 14 again.
Can I drop you some knowledge about Osiris? This
Drop
is
the
sneak peek of my next video, which I'm sure you probably already knew, Kex. Maybe let me quiz you then.
Oh.
What subclass? What subclass is Osiris?
Well, Osiris seems to main a sun singer.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Well, actually,
But-
I had heard about it. I'd forgotten about it.
Well, there is the information that when he's meeting the queen, right, they can't look directly at him, and there's also information about walking in the solar breeze, and it's chilly, so it's cold, meaning they are most likely in. There's a theory about him being in permanent radiance, in that way.
Yeah.
They don't blink.
Yeah.
They cast shadows,
Yeah.
meaning they're
Yeah.
like the sun itself. But I
Yeah.
personally do think that Osiris is something else now.
See, I thought the same, but I sort of forgot about that radiance theory. So what we're talking about is when they do meet the queen, Eris looks at Osiris and is almost blinded by him, like he's this emanating this light.
Yeah.
And a sort of theory popped up that is Osiris Super Saiyan 10 in constant state. You know, like he doesn't need to keep powering up. He's just constant radiance, right? And then if you read all the parables of the Allspring, they're all like about flying and your feet can't take you where you need to go and all this kind of stuff. And my next video, which will be it's cheeky plug. Anyway, I looked at the Sun Singers again, and I think Sun Singers is going to trigger so many people. I think Sun Singers are elevated. I think they are one of the most closest to the light or manipulation of solar energy. Anyway,
Matt, did
Well,
you
look
just
up
say
the part of-
flying?
pardon?
Did you just say flying in the parables of the Allspring?
Yeah.
So maybe Toland is the Falcon fucking class.
Toland confirmed as Falcon Destiny 2.
I've killed
Well,
Sloth,
yeah.
everyone. I've just killed him. His
All right,
brain's
let's
left.
wrap it up. Let's get out
Right.
of here. Everyone's dead.
Kieran's Kiwi, do you think we'll learn more about Zur in Destiny 2? Yes. What that is, I have no information.
And I saw a question about pizza, and the best pizza topping is, of course, pineapple.
Oh, Jesus. You can't say that. Mylan's going to have to delete his channel.
I am very proud.
All right, Kex, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on, man. We are definitely going to have to do it again. We are definitely going to have you back on. So thank you for your time, mate. I know it was... Go and hug your kids for us in a non-creepy way.
Yeah,
Wow, that came out
this
really
is a
bad.
perfect time to do podcasting, so I'd love to be on again if you
Excellent.
can move your schedules around.
No worries, mate. We're only too happy to do it to get the Master of LORG on. As for you other pair, it's been wonderful. Matt, do you think?
I almost forget it now.
I don't know.
You don't have to look.
Matt's a
up.
weirdo. We're done.
I'll find you.
Well,
It gets worse every week. Now
yeah,
I
it
can't
does.
remember the
It does.
saying.
I mean,
Right.
thank God we've got Kex here who actually does find people.
Yes, I will find you.
I believe
if you
it.
want to meet me, go to Sweden and do a crime, and we'll hook up, but not in a good way.
All right, peace. See you next week. It's been wonderful. Bye.